In the first movie, Lena, a hormone-deficient 33-year-old mental patient posing as a 9-year-old girl in an orphanage, is adopted by a family grieving the loss of an unborn child. As the story unfolds, things get disastrously creepy when the then 11-year-old Isabel Furman, playing Esther, reveals her true intentions to seduce her adoptive father? Yes, she dolls herself up and fully comes on to her shiny new wine-drunk dad, which is established to have been her pattern earlier in the film. When Daddy disgustedly sends her to bed, she stabs him repeatedly and sets off to kill the whole family and start the process over. But furious Mommy Kate, who had figured out Lena's game, returns home to kick off a final battle, which culminates in a fight on the surface of a frozen lake, with Lena trying to trick Kate into helping her out of the icy water by calling Kate Mommy. To which Kate replies, "I am not your fucking mommy," and kicks Lena in the face so hard it breaks her neck, and she slowly sinks to the bottom of the icy water. Now, let's talk about the prequel First Kill. Set 2 years before the events of Orphan, we see how Lena, a 31-year-old Estonian mental patient, goes on the lam and ends up in the United States posing as a one-percenter family's long-missing daughter. But obstacles present themselves in a suspicious detective, observant therapist, and a dedicated breadwinning mother complicating Esther's simple game. Let's talk Julia Stiles. As a horror hound, I never really had much exposure to her, as she was in rom-coms and serious dramas during my formative years. Let me put it this way. When I saw her in ads for First Kill, I said, "Hey, that's Nikki from The Bourne Identity." So yeah, not much exposure at all. This isn't a spoiler, because it's literally in the description of the movie. But there's a twist that 100% depends on Stiles carrying it to fruition, and boy does she carry it with pride and conviction. I did not expect this movie to be so good. In the first 20 minutes or so, there are some truly wonderful instances of art direction, specifically in, as far as I could tell, a continuous shot that lasted several minutes, and also a very cool foreshadowing frame involving a mirror. As it plays, I was expecting roughly the same story as Orphan, but since the twist from the first movie is known from the get-go, I knew they would try and take us off balance somehow. You can't just make a sequel to a movie 13 years later and just make it more of the same. But I was not expecting the direction it went. It effectively changes genres near the halfway point, and I was there for it. I'm not a reviewer. I don't believe I have the experience required to be genuinely critical of a film, book, or game, so the most I'll do is say whether I recommend it or not, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. Speaking of art direction, Isabel Furman is now 25 years old. Still relatively short at 5'3", she's a far cry from the height of a 9-year-old. You can see they use makeup, hair, and wardrobe tricks to de-age her appearance, but what about the height? Well, they didn't rely on CG like the Gemini Man or that horrifying cryptocurrency commercial with a de-aged LeBron James. They relied on classic tricks like forced perspective. Obviously, forced perspective is nothing new when playing with an audience's perception of an actor's height. See any movie with Tom Cruise in it. There are a few times when I was seriously trying to figure out what they did to make her seem so short, especially during that long continuous shot I mentioned before. That is mainly just because I love movies and I love to know how they work. During a casual viewing, I wouldn't have thought about it for a second. It was so well done. All in all, watch it. My usual style is to go through some spoiler-free discussions, watch the movie, and then get into the nitty-gritty casting, production, fun facts, all that stuff. But since the movie is so new, I don't want to be the one who ruins a great plot and a great film for anyone. So again, I'm Smokey Lowell with Horror and Cats, and I fully recommend Orphan First Kill. $20 was perfectly fine. I haven't been that happy with a rental since The Invisible Man back in 2020. After some time passes, I'm willing to do a full discussion on the movie because there's a lot I would like to talk about. So let me know in the comments if you'd like that. See you next time.